Adam Clay, once a top agent for a covert government organization known as the Beekeeper, had chosen to retire early and live a peaceful life as a beekeeper. He had a special bond with Mrs. Parker, the woman from whom he rented his beekeeping warehouse. Mrs. Parker was not just a landlord to Adam, but a figure he deeply respected and cared for, almost like a mother. She was a noble woman who dedicated her life to running a charity for underprivileged children. One day, Mrs. Parker's laptop was hit by a virus. A warning message popped up on her screen, urging her to call a certain number. In her panic, Mrs. Parker dialed the number, which connected her to what seemed to be an antivirus company. The manager of this company, a man named Garnett, apologized for the inconvenience and assured her that the issue was due to a system problem. To make up for the loss of her files, Garnett offered to compensate Mrs. Parker and asked for her account number to transfer the money. Trusting Garnett, Mrs. Parker shared her account details and soon found that $50,000 had been transferred to her account. However, the story took a twist when Garnett contacted Mrs. Parker again, claiming that he had made a mistake and had intended to transfer only $500. He requested Mrs. Parker to return the excess amount immediately. Feeling sorry for Garnett, Mrs. Parker logged into her savings account to transfer the money back. But as soon as she entered her account password, all the money in her account, a whopping $2 million, disappeared. The money was not hers, it was meant for the charity she ran. It turned out that Garnett was not an antivirus company manager, but a cunning online scammer. Meanwhile, Adam Clay, oblivious to these events, was busy with his bees, turning their nectar into pure honey. Once he had a jar of this homemade honey, he decided to gift it to Mrs. Parker. He walked to her house, only to find it unusually quiet and dark. Worried, he decided to check on Mrs. Parker and was horrified to find her lifeless on the sofa. She had taken her own life out of despair. Suddenly, he found himself at gunpoint. The person holding the gun was Verona, Mrs. Parker's daughter, who worked as an FBI agent. Seeing Adam in her mother's house, she assumed that he was responsible for her mother's death and arrested him on the spot. When the police arrived, they too considered Adam the prime suspect due to the circumstances. Later, Verona checked her mother's laptop and discovered the scam that had cost her mother millions of dollars. The realization hit hard: her mother had been a victim of a ruthless online scam. In the aftermath of Mrs. Parker's suicide, her daughter Verona concluded that her mother had taken her own life due to losing all her savings to online scammers. The following day, Adam, who had been initially suspected of causing Mrs. Parker's death, was cleared of all charges and released. He returned to his beekeeping warehouse, where he was soon visited by Verona. She apologized to Adam for wrongfully accusing him of her mother's death. Verona then shared with Adam the tragic circumstances that led to her mother's suicide. She revealed that her mother had fallen victim to a scam by a company posing as an antivirus provider, a company that had been on the FBI's radar for some time. However, the FBI had been unable to act due to lack of authorization from their director. Upon hearing this, Adam, who had a deep affection for Mrs. Parker, felt a surge of sorrow and anger. He reached out to a former colleague from the Beekeeper, seeking help to locate the fraudulent antivirus company. Unbeknownst to Verona or anyone else, Adam was planning to take justice into his own hands. With the help of his former colleague, Adam quickly found the location of the scam company. Armed with 2 jerry cans of gasoline, he stormed into the company's premises, overpowering the guards and confronting the employees. He warned them to stop their deceitful activities as he doused the place with gasoline. Adam gave everyone a chance to leave before he set the building on fire. During this time, he noticed Garnett, the manager of the scam company, and his bodyguards approaching him. Despite Garnett's pleas for him to stop, Adam fought off his bodyguards and warned Garnett to leave if he wanted to survive. After ensuring everyone had left, Adam exited the building, leaving behind several bombs. The building exploded shortly after. The news of the destruction reached Direct, the owner of the scam company, who was furious and ordered Garnett to hire a hitman to eliminate Adam, who was now known to them as the Beekeeper. The next day, as Adam was tending to his bees, Garnett arrived with the hired hitman. They destroyed Adam's beehives and followed him to his warehouse. Adam, realizing he was being followed, prepared for a confrontation. Despite being outnumbered and unarmed, Adam managed to overpower Garnett's hitman. Instead of killing Garnett, Adam decided to torture him as a form of punishment for his actions. Meanwhile, Verona, who was at work, received news of her mother's warehouse being burned down. She rushed to the scene, where she found several charred bodies and Garnett's ID card, leading her to conclude that Garnett and his men were responsible for the fire. Verona also realized that Adam had been at the warehouse, and she suspected him to be involved in the incident. Garnett, who had managed to escape from the warehouse, contacted Derek to inform him about Adam's strength and how he had defeated the hired hitman. Garnett, who had lost some of his fingers due to Adam's torture, was then captured by Adam, who had been secretly following him. Adam tied Garnett to his car and sent it into the sea, intending to kill him. Derek heard the entire incident over the phone. The scene then shifted to Derek, who was anxiously discussing the situation with his father, the chief director of the FBI. It was revealed that Derek's mother was the recently elected president of America, making him immune to the law. Derek's mother, President Danforth, asked her husband to provide strong protection for their son. Derek's father contacted Janet Harward, the chief agent of the beekeeper, to inquire about Adam. Upon learning that Adam was retired, he ordered Janet to mobilize all agents of the beekeeper to kill Adam, stating that the order came directly from the president. In response, Janet sent her agents to hunt down Adam. That night, as Adam was refueling his car, he was attacked by a female agent of the beekeeper. Despite the lengthy fight, Adam managed to defeat her by setting her on fire. He then calmly left the burning gas station. Soon after, the FBI's chief director, who was also Derek's father, contacted Janet Harward, the director, and ordered her to provide maximum security for their son. Despite the heavy FBI presence outside the house, Derek's father remained concerned due to his knowledge of Adam's capabilities. Meanwhile, Adam managed to enter the president's house and disguising himself as an FBI agent. He planted several bombs around the house and quickly changed from his FBI uniform into a suit. Inside, the president, who was Derek's mother, was reprimanding Derek for his fraudulent activities, which she had just discovered. The president was deeply ashamed of Derek's actions, fearing the damage it could do to her reputation if other countries found out. Derek admitted that he had been involved in this fraudulent business for a long time and that even the funds for his mother's presidential campaign came from his scams. At the same time, Adam managed to enter the president's house unnoticed. Verona, who was also present, spotted Adam and feared he might attack the president. As a result, Verona mobilized the FBI team to apprehend Adam, leading to a lengthy chase between Adam and the FBI. Eventually, Adam was cornered, and Derek's father ordered his team to eliminate Adam. However, Adam detonated the bombs he had planted, causing an explosion that allowed him to take out everyone outside and re-enter the president's house. Inside the house, Adam had to confront the guards again. He quickly neutralized them and at one point had to fight a powerful hitman employed by Derek's father. After a fierce battle, Adam defeated the hitman. He then planned to enter the president's room to confront Derek, but was stopped at the door by Derek's father, who tried to bribe him. Adam declined the offer, caused Derek's father pain by squeezing his hand. Meanwhile, the president wanted to publicly announce her son's deceitful actions. However, Derek, unwilling to accept this, shot his mother's assistant. Shortly after, Adam entered the room and pointed a gun at Derek. Feeling cornered, Derek took his mother hostage and told Adam to back off. At that moment, Verona arrived and tried to intervene. Adam questioned whether Verona was working for the corrupt government or for justice. Suddenly, a gunshot hit Derek, killing him instantly. Adam then escaped through a window leading to the beach. Verona, realizing Adam's innocence, allowed him to leave, knowing that he was only eliminating criminals who were above the law.